So, I quit working on this one painting that I thought showed a lot of promise. I was so eager at first working on this one. I mean, who wouldn't want to create their own rendition of the famous painting, Jesus at the Garden of Gethsemane? This subject matter has been done for literally hundreds of years, and I wanted to try to put my own spin into it, having a background that is in my own style, or rather from styles that I borrowed from other artists and synthesized them into my own. In the beginning, I was so excited to work on this painting, thinking this would be a masterpiece, and I would be sure to get lots of attention from it. I don't want to say my motivations weren't pure. I think they were. I was for sure inspired to make something like this, something great. But as the hours went by, and as I kept looking back at my progress, something didn't seem right. I had this gut feeling that this painting wasn't turning out the way I had expected. Maybe you had been there before. You get super excited to start off on a painting, thinking this one would be epic and really get the attention of people. This used to happen to me a lot, years ago, when I got super excited to start a project, thinking that this next piece would be so great and grand, that surely it would get the attention of somebody to commission me to do great works for them. That's the thing about inspiration. It could get you to do lots of work, and that's how it carried me through all these years of painting and using trial and error to improve my craft. Some paintings are just downright going to be flops, but every now and then you strike gold, and some random person absolutely loves this one painting. That's how it goes. So with this painting, objectively, I'd say I did many things the right way as far as technical things are concerned. I applied all the principles I was supposed to for the structuring of the plants, the people, and the background. However, I found myself stopping and getting up a lot to take another photograph of this painting, editing it in the photo editor, and seeing how various filters apply to maximize the way it looked. I did this dozens of times because something about the way it was turning out didn't feel right. As I kept going with this painting, more and more doubts started creeping in. However, I tried to keep justifying myself to keep going, trying to talk myself back into continuing the work on this painting. I think that inspiration can only take you so far. You can learn a lot from painting many times, and that's important to grow in your abilities. But when it comes to making sales, it's a whole different ballgame. If your aim in painting is being able to sell, then I like to think of this situation as a Venn diagram. A circle with the word inspiration next to a circle of the word marketable. When these two concepts overlap, now that's where the joy of painting comes in, and you're doing something that can satisfy the needs of your clients. But if you're doing something that just inspires you, you're not able to sell it, then it becomes a valuable learning experience. Because face it, we would all like to sell our work, don't we? Okay, so what exactly went wrong? First off, the background that I used, the entire setting, which I borrowed from a Thomas Kinkade painting, didn't fit well into the canvas. The middle part was originally a river that divided up these two halves of the painting. We have all these trees and bushes. Also, that original landscape was also much wider. It stretched onto a much wider canvas, so you had all that more distance between these two masses of land. The mistake I made here was that I squeezed them closer together so that there is not much space between them, and that kind of happened by default because my canvas is more square than the rectangular one that Kinkade had used. So in the place of the river, I placed Jesus and the rock he's dealing against, and the way I transposed this image on here didn't fit in very well. This is the second mistake. Proportionally, the figure of Jesus and the rock are way too big for this amount of space. What this also does is that it shrinks down the land and foliage surrounding him, taking away the grandiosity of the land, which this style of painting tries to portray. These two mistakes I made were two very critical ones. I may have objectively painted everything right in this painting, but what I grossly overlooked was the overall composition and how the elements came together. That's something you have to watch out for when you're painting. Not only do you have to pay attention to what you're painting and the small technical aspects, but you have to pay careful attention to how all these large elements come together as a whole. And that's where I fell apart. I think the excitement of making a grandiose painting got me carried away so much that I was too hasty in paying attention to the layout and the composition of this painting. One of these days I will revisit this painting and come back with a better perspective and use the corrective measures that I learned in this experience. So please, pay attention to the painting on both a micro scale and a macro scale as well. So, as always, If you got anything else out of this video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Enjoy the rest of this video and watch as I continue painting and suddenly hit that breaking point and finally call it quits on this painting.